All right, guys, welcome into another episode of New Pod here on notfest.com. As always, I'm Joshua Toomey. That is Kohli, and this week we are joined by the one and only Mikey Doling of Snot fame.
Yes.
So how we doing, Mikey?
Things are good. I got a band called Channel Zero that I've been in about 14 years.
Right.
Wow.
On time.
It's just, God, time just flew. And I just got back from a tour over there. We did September for a month. We were over there, and we did 11 consecutive sold-out shows.
Wow.
Nice.
We were playing like 1,000-seaters, and it was amazing. And also, I have another band called Coyote, which we just released our album, our debut record, and we did 4 shows, and those did really well also. I'm having a really good time overseas for sure.
Have neither of those bands have come to the States though, right?
No, I mean, Europe in the U.S., it's just a different kind of rock demographic for a lot of bands. You know, Channel Zero over there, we crush it, man. We did 3 nights in Brussels and a 2,000-seater. We sold out all 3 nights.
Yeah,
over here,
huge.
we couldn't even bring 100 people to a show. You know, so it just doesn't make any sense for us to come over here and play.
Right.
Maybe Coyote someday, because I just launched that band. And we'll see where that goes. I'd like to bring Coyote over here for sure.
Nice. Well, as we dive in to get some, man, I was kind of looking back on it. And the one thing that kind of jumps out to me right away is you guys were on Geffen. You know, a lot of the new metal bands at the time were on smaller labels and things like that. But you guys got on Geffen, man. So kind of dive into like how the Geffen thing came about.
Man, you know, at the time, we didn't even realize. We didn't know what a major label was or a smaller label. We didn't know anything, you know. But we were playing in Los Angeles for about a year, and all of a sudden we're selling out every venue we played. You'd go to the Roxy to see Snot. It would be sold out, and there'd still be 500 people outside, couldn't even get in.
Wow.
And so we just walked next door over to the Rainbow and party with them, you know. And literally we could book a show the next weekend at the Whiskey and sell that out. And so the labels, all the LA, you know, they're in LA, Atlantic and Capitol and Sony and Geffen, they were like, what the fuck is going on there? You know? So it was pretty funny. We'd be playing. Before we went on stage, we'd meet all these people from these labels. And then we'd be playing and we'd see them all trying to get to the front and kind of stand in front of each other. They were fighting for us, you know. It was a real
like a mini, you know, record exec mosh pit going
right
on to itself. Yeah, we get off stage. They'd buy us dinner. They'd buy us drinks. Then they'd say, "Hey, this weekend we're gonna take you guys out and get some shoes." We're like, "All right," yeah, we didn't realize how good we had it at the time, you know. But we ended up going with Geffen. I mean, Guns N' Roses, Nirvana, White Zombie.
Yeah,
you know, and they were just super like, I don't know, they just didn't seem corporate. They're like our friends, you know, good people over there.
Nice.
So we went with them.
I mean, at that time too, it's like it seemed like everybody was getting signed, sort of all at that same time. I mean, was there? I mean, you know, I've seen your relationship with System and with Cold Chamber and with all of these bands. Was there ever? I mean, was it all kind of friendly competition, or was there ever like, how come they fucking got Geffen and we only got blah, you know, like blah blah blah? Why do we only get Roadrunner when they got Geffen? Like, was there any of that, or was it a lot of like fucking right on? Everybody's kind of sharing the success together.
For the most part, System of a Down and us, we were literally like brothers.
Yeah, totally.
You know, definitely Chavo. You know, he was like our bro.
Yeah.
And we played a lot of shows together, and it seemed like the Armenian crowd that was living in LA, I mean, they embraced System, of course, because they're Armenian, but they also embraced us because System embraced us, even though we were headlining over System at the time, most of the time.
Right.
Their fans were really close to us. They really liked the band.
They were really accepting, that's for sure.
It looks like Toomer is texting me, and he's trying to get on, so he might end up joining.
Okay, yeah, if Toomer pops in, he'll pop in.
Yeah.
But you were asking about I want to finish this, and this is a pretty good story. Des from Cold Chamber might not like the story, but and of course, I'm friends with Des. I love Des very much. He's my bro. He was on the Straight Up record. But when we first started coming to LA, there was a definite sense of competition. Des did not like the fact Snot was in town and taking shit over, because Cold Chamber was. And we came and we were actually kind of blowing them out of the water as far as the attendance. I mean, our shows were selling out. Like if we played the Roxy, they played the Whiskey. He didn't like the fact our show was sold out and maybe his wasn't.
Right.
So he literally got some like LA kind of gangbangers, if you will, and confronted us one night at the Whiskey A Go-Go and said, hey, listen, we don't want Snot playing in LA no more. Tried to kick us out of LA.
Really? Like trying to strong arm you guys?
Yeah. So, and God bless him. I throw
right. It's all water under the bridge now, but it's a funny story in hindsight.
But he did do that. Straight fucking up, he did it. And we were literally looked at him and looked at each other and laughed in his face. We're like, what? And we just like, whatever, dude, you know. But of course, after that, we ended up becoming friends. But yeah, he tried to kick us out of LA. He didn't like it.
That's really funny. Yeah. That's really funny. Well, especially, I mean, you're talking the mid 90s, you know, I mean, that, you know, me moving out here in 98, like, you know, I moved from suburban New Jersey to here. And it's like, so gang culture in New Jersey where I was like not really a thing. But out here, it was such a prevalent force that I can imagine, like, kind of like a holdover from like that sort of thing. Like, yo, you know, like kind of know it, you know.
Well, I guess Des, you know, hey, Des grew up in LA, man. So he had some gangbanger buddies, and he thought, I'll bring him along. We'll try to kick Snot out.
Right.
Fucking work at all, because we were laughing our asses off at him. So,
that's fucking funny.
Yeah.
So let's get more into the record then, you know, sure. As far as like recording and everything. I mean, how many songs from this record did you guys already have ready to kind of go before you guys actually went into the studio to record Get Some?
Well, before we got signed, we were playing about 70% of the songs.
Okay.
You know, from Get Some. And then there's also a lot of songs that didn't make the record that we were playing. And once we got signed to Geffen, they actually gave us a budget so none of us had to work anymore and we could go into a rehearsal spot and write.
Right.
And I think we wrote The Box. We may have actually wrote Get Some. We fine-tuned a lot of songs. Like if you can find on YouTube early Snooze Button, big changes on that song during that era. What else? Man, I can't exactly remember, but yeah, we definitely were writing after we got signed for that record for sure.
Before we dive too deep into it, I did want to bring up one thing: is when you listen to Snot, there's a lot of influences going on here. A lot of punk rock, a lot of metal. Like were you guys all listening to different things and then kind of bringing it all in, or did you guys have like a common band you guys liked and then kind of added influences to it?
Lynn was the straight up punk rock kid. You know, RKL, No Effects. You know, I mean,
all the Orange County stuff.
Yeah. All the Orange County stuff. He's just low, you know, but all the way back to Minor Threat, and you know, I mean, that was his jam, you know. Yeah. And then I was kind of the metal dude. You know, I loved punk rock too.
Yeah.
Of course, but I was into like Suicidal Tendencies and, you know, Slayer, Metallica even, you know. And also I like the Infectious Grooves. That's kind of where a lot of our funk came from. So you know what I mean? That was really a big influence. And then Toomer and Sonny and Jamie, they're from the East Coast.
Yeah.
And these dudes kind of they listened to their musical landscape is a lot bigger. Like, for instance, they fucking love James Brown. You know?
Okay.
You know what I mean? And they brought Faith No More into the mix with us. I was a fan, but they're really into it. And so all this like loungy, jazzy stuff and James Brown and Al Green. And then, of course, Faith No More. They had a lot of wah, you know what I mean? And then Infectious Grooves, a lot of wah. And I was into metal. And then Lynn's punk. It just kind of, boom. That's kind of what made the sound of Snot.
You know, when I interviewed Lynn, he called you guys AmeriCorps because you guys were from all different parts of the country.
Right.
You know, I always thought that was the fucking best name for like a genre ever, because it was like, you know, you were kind of in Indio, right? You were like in the desert, and Lynn was like kind of LA, Orange County, and then you had Toomer and Sonny out in on the East Coast, and he was like, we just brought it all together. So he's like, we're like AmeriCorps.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I grew up down in like Coachella, Indio, La Quinta, and Lynn grew up in Santa Barbara though, not LA County. He was Santa Barbara.
Oh, okay.
And then we all moved from all over the country into one fucking house. We all lived together in one house.
That's incredible.
Right? Imagine that. Each of us had our own bedroom. It was a big, beautiful Santa Barbara house. We all lived there, and all we did, we'd wake up every day and just listen to music, talk about music, sit down with guitars. We rehearsed right down the street from the house, right? We'd go in the morning, rehearse, and then we'd go fuck around for lunch or whatever, dinner, and then we'd go back and rehearse. We were like 6 hours a day of jamming. It was cool. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Not only that, and I think you can hear some of the lyrics in this. We rehearsed next to a strip club, you know. So the strip club, Snot rehearsal, and the Snot house were all kind of our home.
Too fun, man. All right.
Like, honestly, you can't really beat that.
You're right. No, it was pretty insane. Yeah. It was,
you know, go in for the free buffet.
We were the typical rock band that you hear like I read Motley Crue's book, The Dirt, and they said that strippers used to buy them food. Same with us. We had no money, no nothing before we got signed and all that. Strippers used to come over, bang us, buy us food, fill our fridge, cook for us. Yeah. And
tough life, man. Tough.
Oh, I'm sorry, you were a struggling artist.
We had a good day. It was definitely fun. We were young, you know. Everybody's in their 20s. Just it was good times.
That's awesome.
Well, let's dive into the record, man. Let's start with the album cover. Obviously, it's Dobbs, man. Do you remember when that photo was taken?
Yeah.
You know, the photo shoot. Who took it? Was the hair and makeup for Dobbs? You know, all that good stuff.
Well, the story behind that is the Snot house, right? Yeah. We had a lemon tree in the front yard. Okay. It was just all like kind of weeds and messed up terrain because we didn't take care of shit. But we had a lemon tree. And Dobbs used to love to jump out. We had a door that used to split the front door of the house. The top would open, and then the bottom would open if you want to, or you can keep it closed. So he would jump out. The halfway mark, it's open. Jump out, go to the tree, climb in the tree, a dog, right? Grab a lemon, come back, and just sit there and eat it on the floor. And he was on to these lemons. So pretty soon we're taking the lemon and we started balancing it on his nose. And we'd be like, no. We'd make him hold it, no. And then all three of us or all four of us would be like, get her, boy. And then he'd grab the lemon and we thought it was the greatest thing ever. And so we made that the album cover.
That's awesome.
Well, I think that also tells you one thing, that strippers, the line is they don't do yard work.
Hey, you know what? We hadn't thought about it at the time, but Lynn might have had them out there pulling weeds.
Right, seriously. You're like, shit, why didn't we have them doing that?
Yeah.
Did any of you have a lawnmower?
They probably would have done it because Lynn had a way of getting his way.
He really did, dude. That dude had an aura about him that was like, it was awesome to watch him with the fans because, you know, he was just very likable and very open and everything like that. But to me, it's like when you would see him around girls, like it was just kind of like this invisible force. I mean, I was like, what, 19, 20, like when I met you guys, you know, but like, you know, like watch it, like, and yeah, I wasn't good with girls back then, you know, at all, but like watching him and they would just kind of like gravitate toward, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
What is he doing? Like, how is this even happening?
I don't know if you remember the Happy Days, the Fonz.
Yeah.
Lynn was that guy for real. He would just snap his fingers and one would come with.
And like, all of a sudden there'd be like 8 chicks around him, and he'd be like, "Wait, what?"
No joke.
Yeah,
it's real. Yeah. We were all in awe. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, the album starts with a aptly titled song, "Snot."
Yep.
Where did you guys do the "Fuck the Record, Fuck the People"? Where is that at?
Oh, that's a good story. Actually, Toomer came up with that. with his really good friend, Mark Armstrong. We called Mark the Kingfish. That's like his nickname. And they were at a smokeout in Washington, D.C. And this is before we'd even met Toomer. Before he's been Snot.
Way pre-Snot.
Yeah, way before.
Oh, no shit.
And they were taking this camera, a camcorder, if you will, to kind of hold up, And they were at this 420 smokeout in D.C. I believe it was close to the White House even. And there's all these like hippies, and they're all smoking weed illegally. It was called a smokeout. Like they were trying to make weed legal, so they're protesting. Right. Anyway, so Mark and Toomer were walking up to just random people saying, "Say something for the record. Tell the people what you feel." Hopefully they'd be like, "Well, we think marijuana should be legal, blah, blah, blah," Right. Well, they saw this one, like, kind of, I want to call him homeless.
He looks homeless,
He lived in the park. And he was kind of a bum. He looked like Randy the Macho Man, remember that wrestler? He was dressed like that with blades on and like. Anyway, he was kind of, I don't know, playing friendly but a little rough with some of the hippie kids out there, like tackling him on the ground and stuff.
Right.
And Mark and Toomer walked up to the bum guy, and Mark said, "Say something for the record. Tell the people what you feel." And then the bum guy says, "Fuck the record and fuck the people."
Yeah,
okay?
That's great.
They didn't think anything of it. Pretty soon we're in the Snot house, and we're smoking doobs and drinking beers and playing with chicks and watching this video that they had. They thought it was so funny, and they're like, "You got to see this guy." So we watch it, and we all look at each other, and it was like a light bulb just popped.
Right, it was just that magic moment.
There's the beginning of the album right there, and we're like, oh, boom, and that's it.
Actually, I want to backtrack just for a slight second. When it came to Geffen, did they ever give you any kind of parameters, or did they ever tell you like no on that song, or we don't like that song title or that song topic or anything? I was just kind of curious if they ever kind of really imposed their will on you.
You know what? None. They did not fuck with us at all, and I was waiting for it. I do remember we had our A&R lady. Her name was Wendy Goldstein. Yeah, Wendy Goldstein. Very record company name.
Right. Right, seriously.
So she flew all the way out to Longview Farms in upstate Massachusetts, where we recorded the record, up in Longview.
Right.
And it was like she never heard anything. Like the demos, I think she heard Joyride or something and Stoopid. Nobody fucked with us. We recorded the entire record. She flew all the way out, and she flew out with her like boyfriend. And they pull up in this Porsche. They're kind of balling, And I think they may have even been doing ecstasy when they showed up, because their like pupils are all big, and they're executives.
They're all loving on each other a little too much.
Right. And she's like, "I can't wait to hear the album." So we brought her in the studio, sat her down, and started playing the record. And I'll never forget the look on her face. At first, she's like, kind of, yeah. And pretty soon you hear like, "I just lie."
Yeah.
Just lie just to fuck you. All that.
Right.
Long walks on the beach, lots and lots of anal sex. I watched her face go to horrified, right? And then My Balls, Your Chin comes on. And you could tell she was squirming so fucking hard. And we're sitting behind her just kind of laughing their asses off. Like, that's the album. You ain't changing it, And she made a quick exit. You could tell she was just uncomfortable. So, yeah. She's like, "It's great, guys. Okay, well, thanks for the
I got to go over here now."
Yeah, exactly. She didn't know what to say. She was
That's really
definitely
funny.
tripping. Yeah.
But that's really cool though that they didn't, because that was always a big thing. It's like, well, where's your radio single? Where's your, what can we go to radio with and all that? It's like I listen to these songs and I'm like, okay, like a lot of these could work on the radio, but at the time, that was always a big major label push.
I think we put that record out right before there was like a radio thing going on. You know what I mean? It was like right before like Limp Bizkit was putting singles out. You know what I mean? Korn did, of course, like Got the Life and all that. And it was before like the Papa Roaches and the Evanescences and all that stuff, all that radio rock. It was kind of before that. So I don't think they had a gauge.
Huh.
Yeah, this was released May 27th, 1997. So like $3 Bill Y'all may had just came out or was about to come out. So like Faith hadn't hit yet, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I don't think they knew. We didn't either. And pretty soon the record was out, right? And I remember they were scrambling. Like it was 5 months after the album was out. They're like, I think we want to re-record The Box, and we're like, what? So there is an actual another version of The Box out there where Lynn's singing lighter, but it sucks. It's just a box light, you know.
Nice. Right. Well, as we dive into the song Snot, I mean, obviously it's just kind of a we're coming to your town to rock you kind of song. When you guys played live, you know, were you guys did you guys have that kind of mantra, that kind of feel?
Yeah, 100%. I remember we hadn't had that song when we were just playing LA yet. And when we signed to Geffen, we wrote that. That was one of the ones we wrote later. And Lynn was all into hip hop at the time, like, and he thought it was kind of like, yo, we'll put the crown on us, we're the kings, you know, kind of hip hop does that. Yeah. And that's what he wanted to do. And that's where that song came from. We're coming to your town. We're the greatest band, and you know, don't fuck around or find out. You know,
I remember the first time I heard it, I was like, "Wow, this reminds me of Hit the Lights by Metallica."
Oh, really?
You know, like it was just that, you know, like we're like same thing, like we're coming to your town, hit the lights. You know, like it was. Yeah. I remember just that same feeling. I was like, "Oh, this is such a great song to just intro the record to." You know, right after "Fuck the Record, Fuck the People," and then it's like, "We're coming to your town to fuck you up."
You know, what's funny is that I don't mean Lynn was into hip hop, meaning that he was rapping on it or nothing, but
no.
I don't know. He had that
kind of the bravado of it.
The bravado, exactly. You know what's funny about that song? There's that big drum solo in it, and then Lynn does like kind of a rap thing. I wanted to pull that out of the song. I hated it.
Oh, really?
I was like, why are we doing a goddamn drum solo in the middle of a song? You know, I thought it was the dumbest thing ever, but I lost the vote on that. Everybody loved it, and I'm glad I did because now it's pretty classic, if you will. You know, I still want to hear it.
It's something so what's the word? Fuck, I can't think of the word. I'm not thinking of but it's something that's so out of the norm, like to throw like a drum, and then he's almost like scatting in the middle of the song. Too, you know, it's like it's such a weird,
unique. It just felt weird. Like, what the hell are we doing here? And then it's like our first song. I just felt really uncomfortable. And actually, I love it now because it's so classic, but I still feel uncomfortable when I hear it. I'm like, Jesus, man, what were we doing? You know, but
no, I guess I've heard it so many times. I guess I would miss out on that. Plus, that was one thing I had for Toomer was, you know, it does seem like you guys gave Toomer a lot of room to kind of just, you know, play. Well, you and Sonny would drop out and let him, you know, him and Jamie play for a minute and then kind of come over him. And that kind of dynamic.
Like yeah. Toomer, I mean, the way he plays the bass, man, he's goddamn freaking tank. Yeah, you know what I mean? His sound, the aggression is and how he plays.
Yeah,
and even physically in those old shows, he'd have the beat like down to here, like that. He looked like a fucking tank.
When it was time for a bass part, I was real confident. I'm like, yeah, do that, bro.
Yeah, you know? Let him go.
And we were right. I mean, he's the man. My favorite bass player.
Yeah,
nice.
That's awesome.
One last thing on the F the record, F the people guy. Did he ever come back and say, "Hey, that's me"?
No.
Okay.
No. They never saw him again. He doesn't even know he's on the album.
Well, he's on the video. I mean, they in the video, like it's actually the video.
No, now he'll see that.
If he's even still alive. I mean,
if he's still around, I was just thinking if he's still alive, you know.
Well, if anybody out there knows that guy, you know, jump in the comments. All right, next the song on the album is "Stoopid."
Stupid. You know, God, it's hard to really come up with what the context, the lyrical context is.
Yeah.
If Toomer was here, he'd probably know better than I do. Yeah. You know, but I know that we really were into the Beastie Boys at the time when we wrote that, and I don't know why, but I thought wow was something that they would use somehow. I thought it was just Beastie Boys with that little guitar solo that happens in there, you know. It just reminded me of that. You know, so I came up with that part and then the song develops from there.
Yeah, that's the one thing with a lot of the record. You know, you talked about the wah and Sonny having more of a wah, but you guys are both kind of playing that wah pedal and the clean and the waka chicka waka chicka.
Sonny, Sonny had a mean right hand, like a real syncopated funk thing. Mm-hmm. Most of the wah stuff I was pretty much doing. He did some, but Sonny had this funky right hand. You know, it'd be really good.
Yeah, especially when you guys would play. That's what I always loved about watching you guys play live too, is that everybody was it was almost like Kiss in a way. It's like everybody was just their own individual person. Everybody had their own individual strengths. Like you never really,
we're characters.
Like everybody was a character in the band, and I always love that because you had Toomer the Tank, you had Lynn the crazy dude jumping off the shit. You had Octopus fucking Jamie all over the place. You had you on the side. Yeah. Like it was like everybody just had their own. You could tell everyone had their own strengths. That made this band a whole cohesive unit, which is one of the best parts about it.
Man, we were so fucking hungry, man. We just wanted to be the best live band in the world. That's what we would talk about. Like, leave it all on the stage. If you get off that stage, you don't feel like you gave 100%, you're not giving 100%.
Right.
For sure.
Another part of the song, and it's kind of a classic Snot sound, is the build up, and then just into like a crazy bridge, heavy, just a crazy bridge, man. I that's one thing with Snot, is like, you're going to get a lull, and then it's just all going to come back around and just punch you in the face.
Right. We definitely like to bring it down real far. We'd bring it down so far. We like play lighter.
Right.
When we hit, boom.
Right. Especially if you like stop and then just boom, just come right back into it. So good. That was always so much fun to listen to.
For sure.
We
really enjoyed that. Yeah.
That's why I always loved playing the record for people who had never heard Snot, because they'd be like, "Oh, okay, boom," and they're like, "Oh my god, this is incredible!" Like it was
that's cool.
Just a turn.
I do. Funny you bring that up. I do remember this was never like a first listen people gravitated towards it. This was more of a party record that you'd have to kind of just have on, because I don't feel like I played Snot for a lot of people and they got it right away, because there was just so much going on. Absolutely. This was like something people live with or hear a few times and then kind of come back to it.
Yeah.
That's what? It's funny you say that. Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's all good.
We would get reviews when the album first came out, and we got fucking slammed, right? We didn't get it, and we'd meet that same guy who gave us the review, 6 months later, and they're like, "Sorry, man, we get it now." Right. Like they would like backpedal and apologize. Yeah. A couple times that happened to me.
That's why I love taking people to see you guys live, because I'm like, you can listen to the record and the record's still great, but when you see this energy, it's like you guys came on and it was like somebody threw a grenade in the fucking pit and it was just like boom, just people everywhere. You guys were everywhere, people everywhere. It was just so fucking like, that's why I would like look at people, I'd be like, that's what I'm fucking talking about,
Well, that's like
fire, man. It was good.
It's funny, talking about that row, is I've had Rob Rivera from Nonpoint on the podcast multiple times. I've heard him on other podcasts tell the story, but they opened for Snot in Florida, and they all looked at each other after they saw Snot and like, all right, we got to change everything. Like, we got to be more, and they went away, and then they came back. They had a show like a week later, he said, and they like, from note one, were into it and jumping and into, just it changed their whole career,
Actually, Rob told me the same thing. He's a friend of mine now.
Yeah, Rob's great.
We talk once in a while. I love the band, by the way, Nonpoint. Rob's a great guy. Yeah. But he told me that story as well.
Yeah, crazy.
Yep.
All right, next up on the album is Joyride.
God, man, that song's hard to listen to for me because of the end of the song, man.
That's my one note on here, man. Was there ever talk of going back and doing an edit?
No.
And the one thing that it reminded me of was Street Survivors by Skynyrd. Because on the album cover, the Skynyrd album cover, there's a few of them that look like they're on fire, and they obviously were the ones that passed away. So they actually went back and redid the album cover after the plane crash. So, like, I was thinking, was there ever a talk of, hey, we need to take this car crash out of this?
No, there wasn't ever talk of that, because, once Lynn passed, we just stopped. The band was over. Yeah. So they weren't going to change anything for us. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'll tell you what, Lynn wouldn't want it any different. but it's heavy. Whenever I hear the song, I'm rocking out to it. A lot of times I'll go into a bar and that song's on, and I'll like, yeah, that song was cool. And then the ending happens, and I just instantly get feeling, you know.
Actually, I mean, speaking of which, you know, like, when the kind of second iteration of Snot happened with Toomey on vocals and even with Carl, you know, when you guys play that, I mean, was that a difficult song to play live? Or,
no, it never was like it was difficult or anything, you know.
It's just hearing that last
so
part.
Many years, and it was okay. It was okay, definitely. I'll tell you what, the song. I mean, Lynn. I'll say it out loud. I'm not surprised Lynn died in a car accident. The way he drove.
Oh, really?
Right.
Oh, the dude always had to be there first. If somebody was going faster than him on the freeway, he'd have to go faster than them. He cut people off. He was always in a hurry. Road rage. You know, everybody knows someone like that, and Lynn was definitely one like that. And I used to beg him to stop driving like that. And that's what the song is about, really. You know, it's about him driving fast with his 308, and he literally had a gun with him at all times.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say, is it? It's kind of autobiographical. That's why I was wondering, like, is it like autobiographical for him, or is it just kind of like the way he looks at other people doing this?
No, that was him driving down the freeway with a big cigar, his fucking shiny nickel-plated 308. Shit. You know, going to get some pussy. That was
with Dobbs in there too.
Yeah, right. With Dobbs in the car. Yeah.
Fucking A, man.
Yeah, that was going straight.
What a guy.
Yep.
Right. Next up is the box.
The box. Okay, Lynn tried to explain this one to me a lot.
Okay.
For him, it was a metaphor for everything's in a box. You got to get outside of the box. You know what I mean? Think outside of the box. Don't conform. Do it your way. You know? So get out of the box, man. You know, that's basically what he was going for.
Yeah, I think when I interviewed him, he was talking about how, like, for him, like, the box was jail. When he was in jail, like, he was just kind of stuck in this box. TV.
That was part of it.
Yeah, also. TV being a box that people just get stuck inside. Like, yeah, it just had this, like, it wasn't just like, oh, the box, you know, like, it was like, no, like you said, thinking outside of the box, you know, getting outside of these, you know,
and not only
these boundaries we create for ourselves.
Yeah. And not only that, when you say he was in a jail cell, he told me that also. That was one of the boxes he needed to get out of.
That he needed to get out of, right.
Lynn was in jail, for the viewers out there. Lynn was a bit of a heroin addict, and this is before Snot was around. And Lynn did some things that he shouldn't have done in order to feed his habit. Mm-hmm. You know, stealing and stuff. You know, all junkies end up doing that. You know, he was breaking into houses and stealing TVs and shit. Right, this is when he was really young, before Snot, and he got caught and went to jail. He didn't actually end up going to prison. He was going to court and doing all this stuff. He was in jail for like a year and a half. Finally, they let him out, and then he was sober for like 5 years. You know, sober.
Yeah.
And then when Snot signed a record deal, he unfortunately started fucking with drugs again. I don't know if it was heroin or just pills, but yeah.
Weird story from my end. I remember when you guys were out on tour with Machine Head, Year of the Dragon, and I was with you guys in Philly at the Trocadero.
Yeah.
It was me, Lynn, and Logan.
I remember that.
I think it was on your tour bus.
Uh-huh.
And you know, when it came to Snot, like I would just smoke weed with you guys. And I remember he smoked, and like I was smoking Jersey shit weed, you know, like whatever you just kind of get stoned with. But like he was coming in with this LA fucking weapons grade fucking, you need goggles before you open a fucking bag kind of shit. And I remember I was so stoned after smoking with him that I was like, I couldn't even drive home.
No,
I had to like walk around Philly for like 2.5 hours after the show. But I'll never forget that he opened up what looked like a tackle box. Yeah. And it was just different compartments with pills. And he's like, what do you want? And I was like, just smoking weed, dude. Like,
yeah. He had
ibuprofen in there?
He had a box. It was
yeah.
Exactly what you said. It was like a tackle box.
It was like a tackle box. Yeah.
He had Valium. He had Xanax, he had probably oxys,
it was
etc., and probably literally 10 different kinds of weed strains.
Yeah, and it was for me being just like a kid from Jersey and everything. Like that was like I'm like, yo, like I'm way out of my depths here, dude. Like I just want to smoke some pot.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was
in that same tackle box. If you lifted the thing up, there was a 308, and they always had it with them.
Oh, yeah. I'm happy I didn't see
loaded weapon. Oh yeah, Lynn was a gangster, the real deal.
Yeah. But I think that's also the thing with the box is like it's almost kind of like what box could really contain somebody like Lynn also.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've always said that.
Because I mean he was literally just a bouncing off the walls kind of guy all the time. Like
not like he was hyper, but
no,
doing something.
He just had that energy. Yeah, he had an energy that just couldn't be contained,
Or rocking the stage, or banging someone's old ladies. I was doing
right.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of it when you're that in a way when you have that kind of like addictive personality. It's almost like you kind of have to take everything sort of to the extreme.
Yeah.
And he did that like on so many different levels. That I
Yeah. You're reminding me of something, and I think I want to tell you guys. I've not told anybody this at all. There's a director who reached out to us. It reached out to me, and then Shab was also involved. We're thinking about doing a documentary on Lynn Strait. And all this stuff that we're talking about right now is just reminding me how strong a documentary on Lynn would be.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, and we're actually working on stuff now. We've actually started some interviews. We started with his family first, sisters, mother. Even the director's already flown back to New York and met with Lynn's family from back in New York, his aunts, uncles, cousins. So we've actually started recording. Actually, Ro, you're going to be on the list. We're going to have
all about it.
Yeah. So I guess I'm just dropping the news here. We're working on a documentary.
Heard it here first.
Yeah,
well, I appreciate that, dude. I mean, you guys were such a big part of my, not only just my life, but like my musical evolution. You guys were such a huge part of it because, I was, like I said, I would say like I was just a shitty Indian kid metalhead zine guy in Jersey.
Dude, we loved you right away.
And you guys fucking like, it was like whenever you guys came to town, it's like you guys treated me like family. And I was like, I don't even know what I did to deserve this. But, but because of that, it's like, it's always been something that I've appreciated and that I keep very close to my heart because you guys were always there. Yeah. You guys were like a really amazing family. That's why moving to LA and then finally being around all you guys all the time, I was just like, oh, this is exactly where I need to be.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. I'm happy to be a part of that.
You recorded a very important interview with Lynn that ended up on the Straight Up record. You know, I always have to clean up or fill that hole and all that. That was you.
Yeah, no, that's shock. Yeah, my shock to the system number 9. That was it. And actually, I was just telling Josh this the other day that next year is the 30th anniversary of my zine of when I started it. So I think I'm going to take it. I'm going to take all of them and put it together in a hardcover and just make like 200 copies and just whoever buys it. And just a way to kind of do that and be able to kind of put a little bit of a light on the Lynn interview, especially since that was one of my favorite interviews, just because I'd never had anybody open up.
Deep, man.
I never had any. I almost felt like it was funny. I was with a buddy of mine. That was when you guys played Club Benet or Club Chrome with Dub War and Fishbone. And I remember it was me and my buddy, and he was kind of looking at me like, dude, should we be here listening to this? Like, this is it sounds like we're listening into his therapy session with his therapist.
He needed it, man.
Yeah.
He needed to open up that day. That was Lynn. Some days he had hard days, man. Yeah. And instead of going out and doing something that could land him in prison, he used you guys as, like you said, a therapist, a moment where he could just let it out, and you got it on, you recorded it.
Yeah, I have it. I still have to it's giving me goosebumps just thinking about it right now. Dude.
Yeah, when I first heard it, I got goosebumps. Even now when I hear it, 20 something years later, I still, it's heavy, man.
Yeah, Josh, I got to send you a copy of that. I'll send you a copy of that zine, dude.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really interesting. But so let's get to the next song. What's the next
song? It's Snooze Button, man. What a killer track.
Yes.
Snooze Button, man. Don't sleep. It's a pretty political song.
Yeah.
basically what's going on right now, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. I think the song is kind of universal as far as time-wise goes,
Yeah, I think Lynn was seeing the future, like when we had the big lockdown and all this stuff, and I don't know. I don't want to talk politics.
Right.
For the record, I think both sides suck, and they're both okay.
But I think the song represents both sides. It's kind of like whether you're on the left or whether you're on the right, whether you're in the middle. It's like, don't fucking sleep. Like that's
because this is coming.
Don't let them come and creep in.
Right. And the alarm clock in the beginning, by the way, that was Toomer's real alarm clock.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because this is I'm assuming this is pre-Pro Tools. This was like 2-inch tape, so you guys were like actually miking an alarm clock to get that sound.
Yeah, we took Toomer's. I believe it's Toomer's. I mean, that's how I remember it.
Yeah,
and I think we even smashed it after we were done using it, because it was like
the ultimate.
You don't need to work anymore, man, because he was working. Me and him had a job in a wood shop. We're making tables and chairs and dressers, sanding wood and staining it, and he used to use that alarm clock to wake up and go to work at 6 a.m. Yeah. And when we signed that record deal, and we used that alarm clock for the song, smashing it kind of represented us not having to fucking work some shit job anymore. At least for us, we thought, this is it, man. We're good from here on out.
Hey, man,
I was gonna ask on that one real quick. I mean, did you guys have to figure out what the time signature of that is, and the BPMs of an alarm clock, so you could write the song around the alarm clock going on?
No.
Okay.
It just happened to fit.
Okay.
Yeah, I honestly, was like in time.
Yeah, it just worked. Hey, can't beat that.
Yeah.
Right on.
And that's the one thing too with Lynn, and we talked a little bit about the lyrics and stuff, about it being political, but I mean, this record is obviously, you've got some "We're Gonna Come Rock You," we got some "My Balls Your Chin," we've got some super political, "Wake Up," "Sheeple" kind of songs. I mean, Lynn as a person, was he deep like that, where you could have a political conversation with him, or when he brought lyrics like that to you guys, you're like, whoa, we didn't see this one coming type stuff?
Yeah, Lynn was deep, he thought deep for sure. Yeah. When he saw something, he was like, he was questioning authority always. Like, what is that shit? For sure. And I don't know if you know this, but "My Balls Your Chin" is not about a blowjob.
Right.
It's about animosity, being jealous. We were a band, and first of all, "My Balls Your Chin" comes from the late 80s, when I was hanging out with some friends of mine in Santa Barbara. There was a buddy of mine named Thomas Franquette in a band called Blacklist. He's passed away since, so Thomas, love you, bro, miss you. But he used to say that to people when they talk shit about his band. Yeah, well, "My balls your chin, man." Right?
Right.
And then when people start talking about Snot, I kind of used it, Yeah. And then we're trying to think of a song to write, because we're writing music, and I was like, what about that for a song, "My Balls Your Chin," for all the shit talkers out there. Nice. At the time, I don't care about shit talkers now. I don't let that shit bother me no more. Say what you want, whatever. But back then, it bothered us. We were young and immature, and so that's what that song's about.
Well, it kind of ties back to the Snot, to the opening song, where it's kind of like the bravado of like, yeah, we're here to take over your town, and then it's like you got "My Balls Your Chin" towards the end of the record, where it's just like, yeah, fuck you, you jealous piece of shit.
Yeah, fuck you, you don't like it.
It's kind of got that same hip hop bravado of like, whatever, dude, fuck off.
Sure, suck my dick, you don't like it.
Yeah, Snooze Button. Back to that track though, man. One of my favorites on the album. One of my favorite Snot songs of all time, man. I love it.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably my favorite song on the album too. Yeah. I mean, it's hard one to say that. That one, "Get Some's pretty damn good too, but I think Snooze might be my number one.
Nice. Next up is an interlude of 313, 313. What was that?
Well, if you listen to it, it's basically just "Get Some."
Yeah.
The verses in "Get Some," we just took that and made an interlude out of it.
Okay. Was that an interlude because you needed a certain amount of tracks, or was that interlude just because you wanted to do it?
No, we wanted to put interludes between the songs. We wanted we were thinking bigger than just putting a record out with a song. Right. We wanted the whole thing to be a piece of art, tie in the way it rolled, the way the songs worked with each other, and in between, we wanted to take you a little bit on a journey to the next song, if you will. You know,
nice.
And also the common thread was the name of the album is Get Some. Get Some Keys. It's another interlude. It's the same thing, but with keys. We wanted to kind of use that verse riff to tie in the songs.
Right on.
Awesome. And then we will get into Get Some, man. Another fucking killer fucking riff. Just a chonk, 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 chonk. You know what I'm saying? I love it, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's these songs. I'm looking at the track list, and every time I look at it, I'm just like, oh, it just brings it. I keep looking at it and just going like, fuck, man, like that show and that show. That's why I was just after looking at this list, I'm like, man, I have that Coney Island High show when you guys played like on video, and I'm like, I fucking want to go and watch that right now.
You have that? Oh. Did I get that from you recently?
Yeah, I think I sent it to you.
Oh,
if I didn't, I will absolutely send it to you because it looks great.
We're going to use that for the documentary.
Yeah.
Did you send that to Anthony by chance or something?
Yes, I did. I did send it.
Okay, that's the documentary I was talking about. We're using that in the doc.
That's fucking that live show is so incredible. That was easily one of my favorite shows ever.
That was at Birch Hill?
Yeah. That was the first show. I think that was the first time I saw you guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember those shows.
Yeah, that was Stuck Mojo.
Wow. Really
Stuck
low
Mojo
ceiling,
on my
right?
birthday, I think.
Low ceiling?
Yep. Oh, no. That was Tramps. Tramps was the low ceiling.
Oh, that's in New York City.
Yeah, Tramps was with that was Dub War and Fishbone, and that was the super low ceiling. That was a really low ceiling because I remember Lynn liked to jump off like the drum thing, and like he just like looked at it. He was like, "Yeah, I can't. I'm not doing that. Fucking head will go through the fucking ceiling."
You know, that night at Tramps was the night that we met Seven Dust.
Oh yeah, I remember those guys were hanging out.
They were playing at Irving Plaza that night, opening up for someone, or I don't remember if the headliner, but our manager, Nick Adler, had arranged something with their manager. I think it was JJ French at the time.
Yes. Yeah, JJ French was managing them.
For some reason, they connected and said, these bands got to meet each other because they need to tour with each other.
Yeah.
So they walked us over to Irving Plaza, and it was funny, man. They were walking down the street. We were walking down the street. And it was like we saw long lost brothers. We'd never met them. And we were like, yo. All of a sudden, we're like hugging each other, like hanging out and drinking. It was best friends ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
Talk about Get Some a little bit about writing that song. Do you remember much of getting that song together?
That was us That was us jamming. After we got signed, they were like, go write some songs because they didn't feel like we had all the songs we needed, which we didn't feel that we did either. And I think that song basically just means get some, man. Let's do this. Get yours, you know? Yeah. Don't fucking let things slip by. If you got something, do it all the way 100%. And that's what that song means.
There's a lot of songs on this album. This one specifically, like, really sounds like you guys wrote it in a room. Like, and you guys played it in a room, and even down to like little just like breakdown parts and things like that. This album could not have been written over files over the internet.
No.
Right.
We were in a room writing, and exactly how we sounded in that room, writing it with the little intricate parts. Mm-hmm. That was on the album. It basically is us jamming live, you know.
I think that's the thing about this whole record is that it feels like that kind of organic kind of thing. It doesn't sound like, oh, okay, you know, Toomer, go record your bass tracks. You know, Mike, go record your guitar. Like it sounds like you guys like wrote and played these songs in a room together.
We played those songs hundreds of times before we went to the studio. Right here, you want to hear something funny though? So we get in a room, everything's mic'd up. We're gonna record it live, you know, and then of course track over whatever we need to.
Right.
But we were in the room with the drums. Like, we didn't have them isolated or nothing. So if there was bleed, there was going to be bleed. We didn't give a fuck. But for some reason, we started playing when the red light was on, and we just were kind of blowing it somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Jamie was playing as if he was playing live, swinging his arms. And dude, at the end of the take, you'd be like, and one of us would be like, yeah, I fucked up that one thing. Finally, Jamie's like, you know what? Fuck you guys, go away. He played those songs with no music, with nobody, just from memory.
Just from memory.
Yeah. Gave him a click track and he played the song.
That dude's a beast.
And then we came in, played over, and it was perfect.
That dude. That's right. When you guys played, I guess it was when you guys played, I think with Machine Head or something like that. Like you guys, because it was, you know, Machine Head didn't strike their kit behind you guys, so it's like you guys were just right up front. You had Jamie like right in the middle, and that was the first time I was actually able to get decent pictures of him playing. So all the pictures I have are him just like just coming in with these like overhand smashes on the cymbal. And I was like, fuck! Finally, I can get these awesome shots that I really want. But that guy, it's such a joy to watch him play these songs, especially just to see him just go crazy on it and just
100%. Jamie's one of, I mean, he's definitely one of the greatest drummers in the last 20 years. I mean,
I agree 100%.
I mean, in the top, I don't know, top 20 or something for me, you know, but for me, he's in the top 10. You know, for me, you got Shannon, you got Jamie, Morgan, Roy Mayorga.
Yeah,
for sure.
You know, I mean, there's so many great drummers, but you know, Ray is great from Korn.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Luzier, he's really something else too.
Yeah. And I'm playing with Seven now, so I'm going to throw his name out there too. Seven.
Oh, that's right. Is he doing Wyote or Channel Zero with you?
Channel Zero. He's been in the band for like
I didn't realize he was doing. Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Seven's a good guy. I like that guy.
Yeah. God, I had something I wanted to tell you. Oh yeah. Did you know that Jamie from Snot, our drummer, is now the drummer for Bad Religion?
Yes.
Yeah, he's been in the band for quite a while now.
I was going to say well over 10 years, over 10 years, right?
Close to 10 years, yeah.
Yeah, since 2015 on the wiki here.
No, okay, so 8 years.
Yeah. Oh.
I'll tell you what, Lynn would trip out because I think that was his favorite band of all time.
Yeah.
You know, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Well, speaking of the kind of the punk rock feel, man, Deadfall up next. So
Deadfall. Okay, I know this.
This is one of my favorite songs on this record.
There's a movie called Deadfall with Nicolas Cage in it, and we would watch this movie. I don't know, at least once a week. We'd all crowd around TV at the Snot House and just watch it and get stoned. And we could definitely recite every line from Nicolas Cage. Just his character is one of his greatest characters. We just love the movie. So we ended up writing a song. And all his lines in the movie are basically
the lyrics
of the song. So
Lynn sings the
song, go watch the movie.
Lynn sings the song so fast, I've never been able to even remotely try to I'll get through the first 3 or 4 lines and I'm like, I can't even do it. I'll never understand to this day how he sang the song so fucking fast and so perfectly.
I agree with you, man. We used to watch him sing when we were writing in rehearsals, and we tell him like, dude, you got to sing this live on stage. You're not going to be standing still. You're going to be running around. You know, it's going to be hard. And he was like, fuck off. And he used to pull it off.
If I can bring up sort of a sad thing, but it's something that will always be in my mind is at his funeral when everybody just said "Viva fucking France," man. Everybody that was the most it felt so good, but it was at the same time it was so emotional. I'll never fucking forget that day.
It was the whole church, right? All of us up there.
Yeah, we were out on the lawn and everything, and people were just saying the microphone was there, and everyone was saying, just telling their stories and everything. I was happy I got to get up there and say something, but when everybody just went "Viva fucking France," man, it was just it felt like this, it was almost like this warm feeling, but that was easily one of the most emotional things I think I've ever experienced in my life was that feeling.
Yeah, that was. I remember that. That was pretty intense. That was a hard day. That was
a really hard day.
Lynn wasn't only the singer of my band; he was my best friend.
Yeah.
He was my brother. And
sure.
Losing him and losing Snot all in one fell swoop. That was heavy shit, man. That funeral was a hard one. Still hard.
That was literally the very first funeral I ever went to.
Really?
So and so I didn't even know how to process any of the emotions or anything like that. And and just to see everybody from like the LA scene and Santa Barbara scene there, like it was so, I think about that day a lot. It's like, and it's just when I think about that, but like when I think of the fucking France man's like part, like it's just like you kind of just like go like like that. I can feel that. Like I can feel him, Yeah,
man, it was heavy. I was talking about Dez from Cold Chamber. He was at the funeral. He came up with Sharon Osbourne actually.
Yeah,
and he ended up being there in tears. And we ended up bros. And because I was saying some not negative stuff. I told you a story about Dez. It's not the most nicest thing he's ever done for anybody.
But it's just funny. It's like a thing that we did in our youth kind of thing.
Right.
We're all dumb.
You didn't come up to him at the funeral and be like, Dez, you're not allowed to funeral anymore.
Yeah, right.
No,
I don't see funerals.
I don't want to see you at another funeral ever again, man.
Yeah.
To kind of lighten the mood, man. The banjo breakdown in this, what was that another high moment? Like, we need a banjo on this song right here.
Yeah. Well, because the movie itself, man, I don't know. It just felt like it needed, you ever see Smokey and the Bandit?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It needed one of those moments. It just needed it,
Who played that? Was that you or Sonny?
No, neither one of us. There was
Glenn Nelson.
Tech there.
Oh,
who was teching our guitars, which is weird because I don't know why we had someone there. But anyway, and he played the banjo. From what I remember, either him or his buddy, I don't even remember, man. But Dave Fortman came up and he did the slide guitars. Dave Fortman from Ugly Kid Joe.
Yeah.
And he also produced Evanescence, their big record. He produced All Hope Is Gone from Slipknot. Mm-hmm. And Dave ended up being a big time producer.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he played slide guitar on that.
That's fucking awesome.
Another side note, man. There's a big Ugly Kid Joe connection with you guys.
Well, there is because we were both from the same town, Santa Barbara, right? And those guys got signed, and I don't know if you remember, they were like number one on MTV for me.
Oh yeah, huge.
They were
fucking huge,
humongous, and they were our friends, and we used them as inspiration. We're like, dude, they could do it. We could do it, And so they inspired us to really go for it. And not only that, they were our friends, and they used to support us. Like they would talk about us to Garth Richardson, who's that producer who did one of their albums. He did, I believe, the big record for Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, he did their first record.
Yeah.
He did Spine Tank.
He ended up doing a demo for us through the guys in Ugly Kid. So, yeah, those guys were like seriously our best friends.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Plus, Shannon Larkin connection with Sonny, and Sonny. I think Sonny played in Ugly Kid Joe for a minute too, right?
Well, he filled
later
in
on.
For Dave. He filled in for Dave because Dave couldn't go, so he played guitar on tour.
Yeah.
But I mean, Shannon is the one who's in Godsmack now. Was in Ugly Kid Joe back then. He's the one who introduced Lynn and me to Toomer, Sonny, and Jamie. They were in his band, MF Pitbulls, back east. And I came to Shannon explaining to him I need to put this band together, Snot. And he said, I got the guys you got to do it with, and boom.
Wow, no shit.
Yeah.
Well, Shannon Larkin.
Shannon Larkin, man, the Godfather.
I'm telling you, man, bringing everybody together.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking great.
Mm-hmm. All right, next up on the album, I Just Lie.
Well, that's an autobiography by Lynn Strait. The lyrics, he was speaking from the heart.
You're right.
So,
which is funny too, just like that he had that animal magnetism for the ladies, but then have a song just be like, no, I just lie. That's what I do, Like,
yeah.
And they're just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Take me.
He'd be juggling like 10 girls at once. I'm not even kidding. And he had a full-time girlfriend at the time. Karen, yeah.
Believable.
And the song, I Just Lie Just to Fuck You. That's it. He just wanted to get laid.
Right? It's like, dude, he's like, I'm not fronting at all.
No,
it's like, you're still doing it? Great.
Yeah.
Like, what do you say?
No doubt.
Because I mean, not to put a weird slant on this, but he was in a porn, if I'm not mistaken.
No, yeah, him and Karen. Karen was a
Backstage Sluts.
Backstage Sluts, like 1 or 2, or I don't know.
Like
Whatever it was, yeah. But him and Karen did a scene together with another girl.
When I moved to LA and I was working for Korn at the firm, like that the whole kind of porn thing with Jonathan Davis and Korn and all this sort of stuff was all so weird and prevalent and just like everywhere. And then someone was like, "Oh, you got to check this out." And I'm like, "All right." And I'm like, "Why am I watching Lynn fuck some girl, dude?" Like, I don't know.
No, it was Karen. You know,
Karen.
Yeah. But, you know, I've never seen it to this day.
Oh,
because Karen's like a sister to me.
Because what?
Karen is like a sister to me.
Oh, jeez.
And I don't know why. Maybe I'm being respectful. This and that. I just didn't want to see it. I don't want to see her getting fucked.
Yeah.
I just thought, out of respect, I don't know.
No,
so I never saw it.
No, I think that's not a bad thing.
Well, here we go. We're gonna pull it up right now. First time viewing for Mikey.
Yeah.
Musically, man, this is obviously kind of your Soulfly connection later on, but man, this kind of had a Sepultura groove to it. You know, I don't know if you guys were listening to kind of the Chaos AD and stuff like that around the time, but it kind of had that little bit of a Sepultura groove to me in this one.
What? I just lied?
Yeah, musically.
Where I got that riff from somewhere. I heard something just that it wasn't that, but it was.
I never put the Sepultura connection together, but it's really true. Like now that I'm like playing it in my head, I'm like, God,
yeah, it could have been on a Soulfly record later on. You know?
Like, yeah.
But I will tell you, when Chaos AD came out, I mean, actually, when Arise came out, my head exploded. I loved it so much, and then I learned every song on Chaos AD, everything. I knew them all, you know, Biotech, you know, all that, everything, you know. And then I ended up playing with Max. You know, and like a lot of those songs, I already knew Arise and Resist and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe I didn't realize when I wrote the riff, I was
channeling your
inner out of that bag. You know,
Max coming in the back of your head, kind of thing.
To this day, I still love those records, man.
Oh yeah, dude, Chaos AD is still my favorite. Every time I interview Max, they're doing those. You know, they're going back and playing Arise and Beneath the Remains, and Roots, and I'm like, when are we going to do Chaos AD?
That's true. They've done pretty much almost every.
They've done everything around it.
It's probably coming.
Yeah.
You know,
I wonder if it has to do. I mean, not to put a Sepultura slant on this thing, but I wonder if it has to do with the fact that it was kind of a Roadrunner Epic Records collaboration, because back then Roadrunner, a lot of metal labels were doing stuff with major labels. So you had Cathedral doing like on Columbia, Fudge Tunnel was on Columbia, and you had kind of all these kind of bands doing that. You know?
No, I don't know.
I wonder if there's a legal thing.
I think they'll end up doing it though. You know,
I hope so. That'd be fucking great.
Yeah, it would be. I'll go see it.
Fuck, dude. Hear Biotech live? I'm fucking all about that shit.
We used to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I ended up playing with Soulfly, we played a lot of those songs, man. Refuse, Resist, we used to play Arise and Beneath the Remains, and we played a lot of those songs.
I love one of my favorites is still Slave New World. I'm just like, John, you know, like, such a good. And I just like the personal ad, man. How much fun was that to kind of hear and put together and all that?
Fucking hilarious watching record that. You know, it was like, I don't know, it's funny, man.
Would that? I'm trying to think of at the time. I mean, would that have been kind of like more of a, because personal ads at the time would have been probably like video, like VHS personal ads, like, you know, guys sitting down in front of the camera. Was there like a phone line? Was there?
There was no internet.
Well, I'm saying like actual VHS.
Yeah,
like,
they used to do like the VHS, like
there was like a VHS dating service and stuff back then.
Was there? I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I think Lynn was doing it as if you were reading it in like a single paper, a personal ad. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
No, that's true though, Josh, because they did have like these like those video, you know, like you would record yourself on like a blank background and just be like, my name is John and I, you know,
my name is Lynn,
like anal,
right, and lots of anal sex.
Man, there was times that Lynn would have a girl chained to his bed with handcuffs, you know, and he would come out. Hey man, come here, check this out. I'm not kidding. And I'd walk in his room and he'd have a girl sitting there butt naked with her ass up in the air, like right? I'm like, oh, geez, sorry. She's like, it's fine. I was like, wow, you're the man, Lynn.
Yeah, right. You're like, I don't know what kind of mind control you got going on, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
He was an interesting cat, man.
Yeah. That was him.
Next up is another interlude. Get some ODs.
Some ODs.
Oh, again, get some. It's just we're using that verse riff,
Yeah.
So to tie it in, the interludes,
It's kind of cool. It kind of weaves its way into the record. Yeah.
It's that common thread, man. Like I said, we're trying to make one full piece, not just a record with song. We want everything to be one thing.
All right. And then next up is Unplugged. Okay,
Unplugged. The one song that I wouldn't care if it made the album or not. And I'm probably the only guy who would say that in the world. For me, for all that stuff, I don't know why, but it reminded me too much of Korn. It had a Korn vibe to it, Right. Yeah, I just thought, like, man, this is too close. And I don't know, maybe you don't hear it, but
I mean, now that you're bringing it up, I can definitely hear it a little bit more, but like, it definitely was never like, oh, this sounds like Korn. Like, it was definitely... For
me, I didn't like the song. I didn't like Lynn didn't like to play it live either for some reason.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for some reason that song's that's my least favorite on the album. A lot of people, it's their very favorite. But and if in the end of that song, we hit the chorus again after this big long dun 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 dun, dun, right? Yeah. And then we go back into the chorus. I thought we should have just played it out and be done. And that was a big fight in the studio with me. I was like, why are we going back to the chorus again? The song is done, man. So if you listen to that song and at the end and we go back to the chorus again, just know that I wish it wasn't there.
Just hit skip the
right.
The,
like,
the
oh, this
Mikey
Mike doesn't like next.
Yeah, but it's just like gone and on and on.
Oh, that's funny.
I know we weren't going to talk too much lyrics on this one, but this one actually does kind of seem like this is almost the anti-label song. Kind of feels like
it was kind of, yeah. You know what? It's funny because the label never once fucked with us about singles or anything, but then Lynn wrote a song about labels fucking with you over singles.
Right.
But yeah, it was kind of more like how MTV did all these unplugged things to soften bands up. At least that's what Lynn thought. I listen to unplugged stuff now, Alice in Chains and Nirvana and all that. I think it's the best shit ever. But at the time, Lynn just wasn't feeling it. He didn't like that. He wanted to keep it heavy.
Yeah, he probably thought it took the rawness out of them. Like, you're kind of like you're softening up a band that's like known for being raw,
Right. I mean, who knows? But yeah, that's what that meant.
Next up is Taccato.
That was a song Lynn wrote in a jail cell. And Taccato, from what God, I'll get this wrong. I wish Sonny was here. He knows exactly how to put it. I believe it has something to do with heroin,
From what I recall, it was the Mexican slang jail version of a junkie.
Yeah, it says junkie.
I believe that's exactly what it is. You're right. You probably heard Lynn say that.
I think Lynn said that in my interview.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So it's like when you're like the white boy who's like strung out, drugs, like trying to detox and everything like that. They're like, oh, there's that Taccato over there.
Well, right. That's exactly right. Now that you say, I remember Lynn telling me that. And Lynn was kicking heroin in jail. And I think the intensity of that song captures how you feel when you're kicking heroin in a jail cell.
Right. Yeah. Where you have like nothing else except for everything that's coming out of you at that point.
Right. Yeah.
There's nobody there to fucking hold your hand. There's nobody there to fucking, pat you on the back or whatever. Yeah. It's just, it's just you dealing with it.
Yep.
Surrounded by a bunch of Mexican other gangbangers who are just like, look at this fucking douchebag.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's a heavy song though.
Yeah, my notes heavy, and obviously another nice bass interlude in this one. So
that's true. Yeah,
love it, man. Next up on the record, Mr. Brett.
Okay, Mr. Brett. Brett Gurewitz, the guitarist of Bad Religion, and he also owned Epitaph Records. And Lynn had a thing about Brett Gurewitz that I don't necessarily agree with. You know, Lynn was friends with Brett, and then all of a sudden Brett kind of ghosted him, you know? And I think this was the days that Lynn was doing heroin shit, you know, stealing stuff. And Lynn was ghosted by Brett Gurewitz. And then he went on to make this label and became this punk rock icon.
Right.
You know, so Lynn's singing about it, about how he's not really punk because punk rock icon. But it was deeper than that. Lynn felt slighted because Brett just kind of ghosted him as a friend. They were buddies, you know. And, that's where that song comes from.
And Theo Kogan from the Lunatics is on this one. So
yeah, Theo.
She actually did this. She did this song live with you guys at Coney Island High.
That's right. I remember that.
She's on that video.
She's awesome. I absolutely adore Theo Kogan. I haven't talked to her in 2 decades, but when she was recording it, she's just the fucking coolest person ever, you know? And the Lunatics were just such a cool punk band, you know?
Yeah. And I have a little personal thing with this song as well. You guys let me sing it on stage with you in Palm Springs.
I do remember that.
And that was
nice.
Man, when you guys asked me to sing that, I was fucking like, you want me? Like, why me? Like,
I really want you to.
Dude, it was that was easily one of the highlights of my life, was getting up there and fucking doing her part. And
cool.
Dude, that was fucking amazing. I will always be so appreciative that you guys, and same thing, man. It brings that whole family thing for me right back around again. That you guys
like
fucking
I said,
were
you're
like
a
come on
brother
here.
to us, man. You know, you're more amazing, than You're definitely like in the circle of like Snot with just so much history, you know. So if you're there,
I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, man. I love you guys so much. Like that was one of those things where I remember my wife Bick was like, she's like, they want you to sing, and I'm like, yeah, I guess, you know. And but she felt that love too and everything, and she was just like, yeah, like this is awesome. And that was when she officially like really like fucking, you know, was like, these guys are great, Mikey's great, all these guys are
great.
Everything kind of full circle. But I will always I got to dig up that video for you, Josh, man. It was just one of those that was one of those like
that was when Tommy Vex was singing with us, right?
That was when Tommy was singing. But it was just and it was such a magnanimous night for me just to be able to be up on stage and just people being like, holy shit, that was amazing. And I'm like, you think that was amazing from your point of view? Fuck you. Like,
think about why.
I was fucking shitting my pants thinking like, holy shit, I'll be on stage singing with Snot. Like that's fucking
hell yeah.
Beyond anything I would have ever thought. But it was I will always thank you guys for that, man. That was an amazing experience for me. So thank you. That was
We'll do
that's a tough song, dude. That's a tough song to fucking rattle off. Like Lynn and her, man, they do it so fucking fast and so it's so fluid that it's just so like trying to rehearse it and practice it on the way to the show. I was just like, I'm literally gonna open my mouth afterwards and my tongue is gonna be in a knot. Like it's just it was such a tongue twister, but like fucking made it through and it was awesome. So again, thank you for that, man.
No problem, man. You know, I don't know why this is coming up, but we're talking about possibly doing some Snot stuff down the road again. I don't want to say too much, but you know, with Sick New World and all that coming out and all these festivals and all that, they're reaching out to all these old school bands. I don't want to say who the singer is yet, you know, because we want to make some big announcements, you know, stuff like that. But I have reached out to a booking agent. I don't want to say which company, and he's expressed interest. And he's actually going to go out there and hit some of these festivals up and see if Snot would be welcome at some of these. I think it fits. I think it works.
Yeah,
you know?
That would be so great.
Hey man, I'm right there with you with a band that lost their singer. That you know, these festivals are coming around again, and they're snooping around some of these old new metal bands, man. And you know, obviously, Primer 55 kind of died. You know. Some of those festivals are kind of poking around too. So right there with you, man.
A lot of those fans who want to see Snot out there. You know what I mean? Like the same fans that love Cold Chamber and all these bands. That, you know, I think they would be like, "Fuck, Snot's playing, man." I mean, I think it works.
Well, you think about how many people found out about you guys way after the fact, you know? So it's like, you know, it's like when I hear people go like, oh, I never got to see Pantera live. And it's like, and while, yes, you know, like Vinny and Dime aren't there anymore, but like the opportunity for people to actually get some kind of iteration of that is so amazing. And same thing with Snot, you know, like I know so many people that got into you guys after, you know, after Lynn passed away and everything like that. And, you know, or just got into stuff from Straight Up, you know, but it's like,
we'll see. But, you know, if we get some offers, I think we're going to maybe do it, you know, not like get back together and go on tours, but just do a few festivals.
No, a few festivals and people will be stoked.
Go play Get Some, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be right there with it.
I'll be first in line, bro.
Last thing on Mr. Brett. Do you think that Jamie's ever had to have that talk and be like, "I'm sorry about what?"
Right?
Yeah.
No, yeah. Jamie told me that Brett Gerwitz laughs his ass off about it. Thinks it's hilarious.
Nice.
No hard feelings at all.
Yeah. It seemed more of a poking fun kind of thing as opposed to like a big like double fuck you in your face
for sure.
thing, you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
That's another thing about Snot too, is like it has that Southern California punk vibe to it too.
Sure.
You know, as much as you guys are in the, you know, top 50 new metal albums of all times, I mean, you guys also have your Epitaph Records kind of punk rock side to you too, man.
But that's what Lynn was into. That was his thing. You know, if you got in his car, he would have punk rock music on as loud as his stereo would go.
Yeah.
Always.
Actually, it's funny. After listening to Straight Up, I had never heard RKL before. And when I heard that the song that's on Straight Up, I was like, oh my God, like I gotta check out this band. And dude, I picked up like 2 of their records. I was like, holy crap, this is so good. And I was never into OC Punk or anything.
Riches to Rags by RKL. That record, go listen to it. That record, it's like Iron Maiden Killer sped up.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was so good, man.
It was so different too from the other, like it had this kind of I don't know. Well, this is a terrible way to put it, but it was almost kind of like where you had like your Pennywises and your Bad Religions and stuff like that. It had this like methamphetamine speed kind of like
no, it was way
like
more.
It was that kind of version of OC Punk. I was like, 100%. Oh my God, like, this is like this fast heavy shit.
Really explain that band by just saying it though. You have to go listen to it. If you're listening to this, just go to YouTube and put RKL Riches to Rags.
Yep.
And just chill out and listen to that record. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that was great stuff.
Yeah, man.
All right, next up is Get Some Keys.
Again,
nice
Get Some, the verse, but done with the keyboard. And Anton, who, God, how do you say his name? It's a Polish name. Anyway, I don't want to say it wrong. Anton, who engineered the album, he played keys on that. I think it was a Nord lead or something. Not even sure. Or a Hammond B3, maybe it was. I don't remember. But anyway, yeah, he played that on the record.
Nice.
On that song.
Yeah, just another cool little weave.
Right.
Like it's funny too, because now like listen, because back in the day when I would listen to the record or like put it on a cassette or burn it onto a CD, I would always take those songs out just because as I was like riding my bike or working out, like I'm like, oh, like that's if I'm trying to make it up a hill and like Get Some Keys comes on, I'm like, that's not really gonna get me up that hill.
Yeah.
But now that you're talking about it as this kind of like interwoven kind of thing to keep it through, I'm like, oh, this is going to make listening to Get Some kind of a different experience for me now, because now I can kind of see like, oh yeah, like here's where
that was intentional. Those were there for a reason, for sure.
Yeah, it's very cool stuff.
And the album ends with the classic "My Balls."
And I told you what the song was already about. I used to play that. Wow at rehearsal.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, do something with this. And then also I had the riff. I had that before Snot was even a band.
Oh wow.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, and then that was really early Snot. That song was written.
That's a fun song though, man. It's like even when you guys would play live, you just bring all these girls on stage, and all these girls are like, "My balls, your chin."
Awesome.
This is hilarious.
Watching 10 girls scream "My balls, your chin" was awesome.
Dude, you guys did that at the Troubadour. I have a video of Bick, of my wife up there. I was like, this is too fucking funny for words, but like,
really good.
Again, it's just that was always the best part about Snot was like, you know, even when you have, you know, songs about like, you know, the box and the snooze button and stuff, there was just so much. It was always fun. It never felt like just like, you know, like you said, like you guys were never like a political band or, you know, like Megadeth or something like that. It was just like, no matter what, it was just all fun. And that's what you got out of it, you know.
For sure.
That is always what you got out of it. And anybody who was there was never like anytime you left a Snot show, everybody walked out of there with just a big fucking smile on their face.
It was definitely a good time, man. It was a party. Some of those shows in Santa Barbara pre-signing at Toe's Tavern. Holy shit, man. Those were the days, man. Big party.
Yeah.
I mean, the front of the stage we lined with like, I don't know, 20 chicks that we already banged. Like we were just I'm not kidding. Like, yeah, we were the real deal back then, man.
You'd be playing your song, you're like, hey, I remember that girl chained up to Lynn's bed.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't want to sound like a womanizing pig now.
Right.
I'm older now. I don't, married, kid.
Just old days.
Those were some wild times, though.
However, I do have to ask this because I know you weren't on stage at the time, but I can't imagine what was going through your head. But Ozfest 98, when Lynn comes out of the toilet bowl with the girl, when you saw that, heard about it, whatever, like, were you just like, what in the fuck, dude? Or were you like,
well, I'll explain what happened because with the podcast, some people don't know. Limp Bizkit had this toilet that was 13 feet high, and there were stairs that went up into the toilet, right, and you could crawl out and actually walk on the giant toilet seat, right, and Fred Durst used to go up there with like Britney Spears cutouts, the big cardboard thing, and like flush her down the toilet. And at the time, Hanson, that band was big, he'd flush them down the toilet, whatever, like pop stuff, and they had the sound effects on the PA. Well, Lynn thought, fuck, man, how are we going to get Snot some attention? Because we're playing second stage. So there was this girl that was riding on the tour with different bands. Every other day we'd see her with a different band, and she was straight up like, she was out there banging all the bands. The groupie of all groupies.
Poor groupie.
Right? Which... I did not touch. But Lynn took her into the tour bus, and maybe he touched her. I don't know. But he asked her if she would come on the giant Limp Bizkit stage toilet and give him a blowjob in front of 20,000 people.
Yeah, seriously.
And that's exactly what happened. She had a dominatrix leather outfit on, right? And a chain, doggy leash around her neck. And so what Lynn did is he brought her behind the toilet. Limp Bizkit's fully rocking, 22,000 people, Great Woods,
Mansfield, Massachusetts. Yep.
Yeah, Mansfield, that's it. Great Woods, exactly.
Yep.
And Lynn got butt naked and put a Snot sticker, like one of those large ones, covered his whole stomach, and he was fucking naked, and did not give a shit. And he walked up the stairs with this girl with a dog chain around her neck, walked up the stairs and climbed out up on top of the toilet bowl, the toilet seat, the giant one, standing up there, 20,000 people. And this girl comes walking up, and he already had, let's say, fluffed himself before he came up. So he had a boner, right? And they got up, and she fucking blew him in front of 20,000 people. And then by the time the cops and security realized what was going on, the whole crowd was like, yeah, right? And then as soon as Lynn walked out.
There you go.
Oh, there it is. There it is. There's the giant toilet.
Amazing.
Now you can see Lynn standing on the toilet rim, and the girl's blowing him right there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I saw this photo the other day, and I was just like, oh, I didn't know. There's evidence out there running around.
There it is, man.
Yeah.
She sucked his dick in front of 20. I remember 20,000 people cheering for Limp Bizkit, screaming "yay" when Lynn walked up. But then they realized what was going on. Right. The whole place went quiet. So Lynn, now security's coming, the police are coming. Lynn runs down the stairs. I don't know what happened to the chick. Lynn runs, grabs his clothes. He's running from security, runs backstage and runs into Sharon Osbourne's dressing room.
Butt naked,
right? And Jeff and Kelly, they're kids, little kids at the time. You know, they were like 13 and 12 or something.
Yeah.
Lynn walks in there covering his junk with like his shirt, and he's putting his underwear on, and he's telling Sharon, "Hey, sorry, but the cops are after me." And Sharon was cool. She's like, "Okay, stay here." And she went out and talked to the cops and said, "Look, what's going on?" They explained, "We got to arrest him," right? So Sharon comes in and tells Lynn, "Don't worry, this is really good for your band. We'll get."
She thought it was hilarious.
She loved it.
She thought it was absolutely hysterical.
We'll get a publicist. We'll promote it. It was on MTV that night. Okay, it blew us up.
Yeah.
So there's a story though that you need to know that comes after. So Lynn goes out. They handcuff him. He's got his clothes on now. They take him to this like little makeshift jail, which is on the premises itself. Right. And they brought Lynn in. They took the handcuffs on. They sat him down, right? And Lynn's got a fucking pipe in his pocket and a bag of weed. And at the time, that was really illegal.
Very illegal.
Well, it's summertime. It's outside. It's a makeshift jail. And they got a big white bucket with ice and waters full. So Lynn's like, "Can I get one of those waters?" You know, this is not a real jail, so they're a little more loose. They're like, "Yeah." So he reaches in his pocket and grabs his pipe, his bag of weed, pulls it out and reaches into the ice bucket of water, drops it, and pulls out of water, and sits back down and drinks water. So now they process him, take all the shit out of his pockets.
Right. Got nothing on him.
Nope.
Nice.
Yeah, hilarious. What the fuck? So good. And here you go. This is a great part. So they ask his name. Because not the people that now arrested him left, and there's somebody taking the information for us. They're going to just cite him and let him go. So he said his name was Dave Mustaine.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, his name was Dave Mustaine.
That's fucking great.
So they wrote it that way. Okay. So later, they're like, "Okay, you can go now." Lynn says, "Hey, can I get another water?" On the way out, he reaches in, grabs his pipe and his weed, pulls it out, puts it in his pocket, and leaves.
Oh my God.
Classic shit.
That dude is so fucking epic. He is epic.
So now they figure out that wasn't Dave Mustaine. So Lynn now has another charge. Okay. That was in, I guess I would have been what? August? August 98?
Yeah, July or August 98, yeah.
July or August. So Lynn died in December. So Lynn died only a few months later after that. Yeah. So Lynn was actually going to go back to court, and he was going to go do some time for that. For lying, for sexual explicit, whatever.
Right.
He was actually going to go. They were talking to him saying, "Look, it's probably going to be a fine and 90 days in jail."
Wow.
Yeah, but then he passed away before that all went down. Before jail, yeah.
Oh, so, yeah. Dude, this is so fucking rad, man. I'm so stoked to have you on here.
Yeah, man. Thank you. And it's good that when I heard you were going to be a part of it, I was stoked. I'm like, "Oh, cool."
Dude, well, when Josh asked me to be on this, it was, are we still live? We're still live.
Oh, hi.
Oh, all right, cool. Well, then, you know what? Let's keep talking about some other shit then. Because if we're still live and we're just doing this, so we want to have you on to do a deep dive into Straight Up, because I think that's going to be, I think that's a really important thing for us to do, especially after this record.
That'll be a hard one, but we'll do it.
Yeah, I know it'll definitely be, it'll definitely be tough on a lot of angles, and we also want to try to get some of the singers to just just a little bit talk about their experiences about it, you know.
Sure. Sure. I think some of those guys would definitely like to do that.
Yeah, and we want to try to do it in not so formal a setting. Like I would like to do it like kind of like, oh cool, like, you know, Des from Cold Chambers right here, you know, on this tour, like let's just talk about it real quick, you know, that kind of thing, and kind of work it within it. But I think that Straight Up record is really, it's really important, you know. There's not a lot of tribute records out there. And
yeah, we'll have to talk about it later in the thing, but that record was really fucking hard to do, man. And honestly, to be honest with you,
I can't even imagine, dude.
I'm not really happy with how it came out.
Really?
No, the vocals were cool, and the vocalist's performances are great. But we were piecing that music together. Me and Toomer, basically, and Shane Larkin played drums on it.
Yeah.
And you know, it wasn't like we're in there jamming and writing. You know, we were like, we just kind of made these songs. And when I listened to it, I kind of cringe, man.
Really?
You know? Yeah.
But I mean, I can understand that. I can absolutely understand that, just because of not only, I mean, the subject matter, but also, you know, how do you do it in the realm of the emotional stuff, right? Everything that happened with the band, everything, you know, like all of that. And it was, I mean, because I got my copy of that in Ozfest 2000, I think it was, you know? So it's like, we're talking, that was pretty fresh.
Yeah. And if I could go back in time, I probably wouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
It was hard. And we thought it was a really good idea at the beginning. Like, let's do a tribute for Lynn.
Yeah.
You know, and then it became a really hard thing to do. And the only great thing that came out of that record, I mean, not only did we make some great music for Lynn, but people don't know this, is that Lynn's mother, Marianne Straight, she put a lot of money into our band before we got signed. She was paying for our rehearsal spots, space. She paid for some demos, a lot of gas money for touring and per diems for food. She was out of pocket about $60,000.
Wow.
Yeah, but when we did that record, we got an advance from Sony Immortal, you know?
Yeah, so you were able to pay her back. That's fucking rad. See, I mean, I definitely, when we do the Straight Up thing, I definitely want to talk, like, definitely get more into that, because again, it's, you know, from the layperson or just the average Snot fan, it's like, you know, they go, oh, this record's so cool. But I think to get your perspective, being best friends with Lynn and all of that, and just kind of, like I said, all the emotional tone of everything that was going on in your environment, within everything. I think a lot of that is, especially in hindsight now, I think it is important for what's going on today. Yeah. You know,
right on, man.
Find out how many people, how many bands were influenced by, you know, by Snot, by Lynn. Because I mean, even when you listen to the Straight Up record, it's, you know, Corey Taylor, who at the time I had no idea he had any ties with Snot whatsoever.
He was a fan.
Right.
I've talked to him before, and I've actually seen footage of it. He listens to the Get Some before they go on stage quite often.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about quite often, but sometimes.
Right.
And I've actually seen footage of him backstage getting ready to go on stage with Slipknot, and they had Snot going in the background. He didn't know I was going to see it. It was just like a thing. So I actually saw proof of that.
Right. And I think that's why there is a legacy to that record. Yeah. But I think the history of what made the legacy is definitely, it is a painful journey, but I think it does have a, I don't want to say a happy ending, but I think it has an everlasting effect.
Dude, I'll tell you what, that record came out in tell me, I don't know, 97. So that'd be 25 years, right?
Yeah. What, for Get Some or?
Yeah, Get Some.
Yeah. 97.
25 years or 26 maybe.
26.
It's crazy. Record, we toured on it for, I don't know, a year and a half.
Right.
If that. And it's still, to this day, it still has legs.
Again, it still has, and even once you did the second iteration with Tommy and then with Carl, I mean, people, it still affects people.
It's unbelievable.
You know? And it really is a testament to the legacy that you guys really, you punctured the consciousness and with one fucking record, you guys fucking did
one
that.
album, one tour cycle.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, that was great. I sent a photo to Mikey 6 months ago or so, and I was watching a TikTok video, and a girl was posting all these old Ozfest backstage photos. There's just Robert Trujillo wearing a Snot shirt.
Oh yeah, Rob was a big
hanging out backstage, and I guess that kind of full circle for your Infectious Grooves kind of
for sure
your love.
Sure.
And then
he was playing in Ozzy at the time.
Yeah, he was with Ozzy. But how awesome is that to have the bass player from Suicidal first off, which is one of your influences.
Yeah, it was amazing.
To like Infectious Grooves, who I fucking love. To like see like him wearing your shirt,
dude, Rob used to come up to Santa Barbara and hang out with me and go surfing up there, and we'd go eat Mexican food. And this was like,
you get a phone call. You're like, why is Robert Trujillo calling me? How does he know who I am?
He's a great guy. I love Rob very much. I haven't talked to him in a long time, and of course, he's in Metallica now, just in that world. But
he's now been in Metallica longer than Jason was.
Yeah,
really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
20 years now. Yeah.
Damn, man, time is flying, man. Wow.
So when it comes to the ending of Get Some, because we did the last song, which was My Balls. You guys ended up recording Absent for the what was it? It was a soundtrack, wasn't it? Was it Strange?
It was a soundtrack for Strangeland.
Strangeland, right?
Dee Snider in it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So now I have a couple of questions. Number one, how many songs didn't make it onto Get Some?
There was a lot. I'd say there was probably 10 songs that didn't make it.
There looks like a 95 demo on Spotify with Lose, Just for Kicks, Can't Be Trusted.
Right. None of those made it. There's Archangel. There was a bunch of songs that didn't make it. There were even songs that I wrote for Snot before Toomer and Sonny and Jamie were in the band. There's songs that didn't make it even through that era. But yeah.
Would you ever consider releasing those songs ever, or just
they were terrible?
Yeah,
there was a reason they weren't on the record.
Yeah,
I don't know. I always like listening to just like old demos and stuff like that way after the record's out, just so you can see how just how things change.
When Sonny and Toomer and Jamie joined the band, it took us to the next level for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I want to hear those demos though. I think that'd be cool.
Well, you can. They can't be trusted and all that stuff. They're fucking god awful. But there's this 3-song demo out there that you can find online.
Yeah, it's on Spotify.
It's on Spotify.
Oh,
I definitely want to check that out. Yeah, great. Now it's out there for everyone.
Yeah, it's fucking horrible. Go ahead and check it out.
It's like you got to do like what Typo Negative did. You got to do like
what is that album cover there?
Oh yeah, that is yeah. That's Jobs in the car crashing on him. Oh god.
Yeah, another.
Is that the old demo? Is that like the first
That's the Joyride demo. Yeah.
That's the Joyride demo. Christ, that's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Well, man, as we wrap up, man, I obviously thanks for the time.
Yeah.
Hour and 45 minutes. I mean, I love, I love having you on the show no matter what, but taking the deep dive into it, man. And it is what Rose said, even to this day, those, 25 best new metal albums, Get Some's going to be on it. It looks like on the wiki, it says Revolver featured Get Some on the top 5 one album wonders list. I mean, that's a crazy list there too. So, I mean, it's a testament to one record. Obviously Straight Up is a great, I think we've talked about that in the past, not necessarily any of those songs were going to be Snot songs, but good for the legacy too, man. And just to, if you're going to have one record, Get Some's going to be it, man.
Thank you, brother. Hey, can I give a little plug?
Yeah,
I have a hold on a second.
Yep.
I have a project that I just did with Aaron Nordstrom from the band Gemini Syndrome.
Right. Yep.
And I got 4 buddies in Belgium that I did this album with, and we actually tour, and it's called Wyote. I made a CD here. It's a little bit shiny, so I'm gonna take that off. This plastic. I made a CD. I made 500 CDs, but you can go to Spotify and listen to it. It's Wyote.
Nice.
Yep. There you go.
Check it out.
Mother of the Universe.
Pretty cool. Mother of the Universe.
Yeah.
I would love people to check it out. I mean, it's not like we're gonna blow up and be huge or nothing, but I want people to hear my music. Aaron and I actually wrote all these songs, and I performed all the instruments on the album. Along with Chris Collier, the guy who did the last Korn record. He produced it.
Nice.
He played some bass on it too. But yeah, I would love you, if you're a Snot fan or just a fan, period, to go check out Coyote on Spotify.
Definitely.
Cool. Where would you go to buy that? Do you have a?
Well, you can actually go. God, man. There's a label called Neck Twister.
Okay.
I know Neck Twister out of Belgium. Neck Twister, yeah, out of Belgium.
Yeah.
So you can go to necktwister.com, I believe it is, but you can Google it.
Okay.
You can actually get our record there. If you want a CD, they'll ship it. I think it's like there's a code. God, I don't even know. There's a code on their website where you can get free shipping.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Yeah, so you have to go on the website and figure that out. But yeah, man. Thanks for letting me plug that. I worked my ass off on that record.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely. Everyone should check out Coyote and definitely check out Channel Zero as well.
Yep.
Really, really amazing stuff. And
Thank you.
Dude, thank you so much for coming on, man. This was a huge treat for me and Josh, but I think it's also a really, I think, like I said, just for past Snot fans who were there in the beginning, for those people in the beginning who probably don't know a lot of these stories, to people who found out about you guys, after Get Some and after Lynn's passing. I think this is it's a great way for people to fill in the gaps to kind of the legacy that is Snot.
Right on.
And if you guys do play again, man, I fucking can't wait. I will be literally first in line, man.
Thank you very much. You know what? I'm starting to get that itch again. Seeing that Sick New World made me go, fuck, we should have been on that.
Yeah.
And so if they do it again, I'm going to try to weasel my way up there.
Well, you know what? I was there.
You and me both.
I was at the show, and it was fucking packed.
Yeah.
It was definitely sold out. It was, and there was not ever a time where there was not one stage was like, oh, there's only like 20 people here while everybody's seeing Korn. It was like, even when System was on, like all the other stages still had people there.
Right. And like you said, maybe Snot plays the second stage. Fuck yeah, let's go. I'd rather play the second stage.
Yeah.
Keep it real.
Yeah, people were going crazy. It was a fucking great time, and I'm sure they're going to do it again. They have to. There's no way. There's no way. With the success of all of these kinds of shows, the Sick New World, what was the other one? The When We Were Young. It's all the same company. Like, I think all of these shows are doing really well for them.
Yep.
Just introducing newer bands, bringing in those legacy acts and everybody in between. I don't see them not doing that. So
to put it this way, if they don't invite Snot, it's crazy.
No, I think once you guys get that booking agent and everything, I think it'll open up a lot of shit for you.
Yeah,
guys.
Like you said, I want to have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's all have some fun.
That's what Snot was all about. It was all about fun.
Yeah. And on that, this has been a lot of fun. Mikey Doling, man, thanks for taking some time with us. New pod here, notfest.com.
Okay, guys. Love to you, man. And Ro, you're my brother, man.
I love you, dude. Thank you so much, man.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
And Josh as well.
Can I be a brother too? Come on.
Josh, thank you. No, I mean, I got 25 years.
No, I know.
But
with you.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Josh. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
No problem.
All right, I will end it there. I was actually gonna. I think we will do a straight up episode at some point. I do want to compile. I'm going to try to get as many of those singers to just do a quick, maybe answer 2 questions. What does Snot mean to you? What,
cool.
What are your memories of this song kind of thing? And kind of, as we're talking to you, add those in as we go. And so it's going to be a time consuming process, but I'm going to try to grab as many of those dudes.
Yeah.
As I can.
Yeah, well, when I was making that record, you'll understand why it was so hard.
Right?
For sure.
Yeah, and I mean, some of those dudes, now are larger than life, and so it's going to be harder to track a few of those guys down. But we'll see what we can do. I'll be like Ace Ventura and when he's tracking down the Miami Dolphins and jumping out of bushes and
exactly right
at
the
urinals and shit.
High horn.
Right.
All right, guys.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care, dude.
Later.